Welcome back to my dad's podcast, season 2, My Black is Transnational. Follow him on Twitter or Instagram. Hope you enjoy the show. Bye!
Nico Mali.
And it's home the big Lord.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to My Black is Transnational. My name is Dr. Kalechi Bay Lambert, and coming up on today's episode, we'll be having a conversation with the founder and creator of the fashion label Dual Citizen, Ms. Maria Ajao, who talk about her journey and what inspired her to create this concept, this fashion label, and what it means to her to be a dual citizen. We'll talk about her experiences, and we talk about what dual citizenship means for the entire Black community and why it's important. But before we begin, let's go through our formalities. If this is your first time listening to My Black is Transnational, you can find this podcast on any of your favorite podcast listening apps. You subscribe to it if you like what you hear. It's available on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you would like to listen to your podcast, you can find this show on there. If you want to know more about the show in its entirety, you can follow us on Instagram at Black Transnational Podcast. You can also check out our website at www.blacktransnational.wixsite.com/podcast. Okay. You can also follow me personally at Black Transnational _. That's my Instagram handle. And we're also on Twitter at MB Transnational. You can also email us finally at blacktransnational17@gmail.com. So there are tons of ways in which you can get in touch with us if you want to know more about the show, if you want to be a guest on the show for our Let's Gist episodes, or you just want to know more about our guests, you want to learn more about them and what they do and get in contact with them. So there's so many things to do on that website as well. I encourage you to check it out. I encourage you to also rate and review the podcast if you like what you hear and provide some feedback for us so that we can be able to make this show better for your listening. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got as far as formalities go. So going back to this episode for today, as I mentioned, I got an opportunity to meet with Miss Maria Ajao, who is the founder of the fashion label Dual Citizen. And it just became by happenstance that I was able to get connected with her and have a conversation with her. Our interview actually was the first time that I had a conversation with her. This wasn't anyone that I knew prior to the show or anything like that. Didn't have any past relations. So this was a very interesting conversation that Maria and I had, but I really enjoyed this conversation because it was a very spirited, passionate conversation that we had about our upbringing. We talk about the whole concept of her becoming a dual citizen, what it meant, why she was inspired to create this fashion label, what her designs mean to her, and what she intentionally, what she hopes would be the ultimate impact for a dual citizen, not just for her people, but also for all of our people. So I think you all will enjoy the conversation. It was very light, very direct, but very spirited and passionate. And I think it's something that's usually the type of conversations that I enjoy. So without any further ado, here is my conversation with Ms. Maria Ajao, founder of Dual Citizen. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to My Black is Transnational. And on today's episode, with our special guest, we'll be talking about fashion. And this is a fashion clothing brand company that I've been, as Nigerians would say, we've been shining our eye on. I've been shining my eye on this for a while. It's called Dual Citizen, and we have the creator, the mastermind behind it, Miss Maria Ajao, who will be here to talk with us a little bit about herself and what inspired all of this. So just very, very excited. I had to find some people to find you, my sister. So we're very fortunate to be able to have you, but welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you were able to find me.
Um, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't that hard to find. Because you definitely have your own connection. So thank you for having me, and thank you for being persistent and making this happen.
Oh yes, this had to happen because I love the concept of dual citizen and what it stands for. But I'm not gonna spill the tea too much. What I want is for you to spill the tea and share with our audience. One, if you could just introduce yourself, and if you want to talk a little bit more about the brand as well, that'd be awesome.
Well, as he has already shared with you, my name is Maria Ajao. I am a dual citizen. The reason for naming my company that I was born in Chicago with Nigerian roots, and my grandparents well, I'm sorry, they migrated to Ghana. My father was born there, and just 2 years ago, he was able to file for dual citizenship for me and my younger sister, which could have been the best thing my dad has done for me. And I just used it to guide me throughout life and help me connect with my true identity. And again, that's the foundation of dual citizen. I wanted people to have a clothing line that allows them to embrace their roots, know their identity, and value their culture because it's very important to be able to navigate through this thing we're doing and what it is called life. So that's what we have here today. And during 9 to 5, I am a healthcare professional. I'm a supervisor at Blue Cross Blue Shield over a call center. And healthcare is something that I'm also very passionate about, helping people navigate through the complexities of healthcare and be able to find cost-effective resources so that they can get good quality means for themselves.
That's awesome. So you have the brand, but you also work for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So you're in the health profession. That's fantastic. But I think something that stood out to me, what you just said right now, that I want to kind of dig into, is the idea of how you felt that the dual citizenship. And if correct me if I'm wrong, it's with Ghana, right? Not Nigeria.
Yes, I have dual citizenship in Ghana.
Okay, fantastic. So then, how did that? You said it guided you throughout your life, and I want to know a little bit more about that. Like, how was your upbringing, being born in Chicago, but having this connection to Ghana and Africa and this dual citizenship that just happened? How did it affect you as you were growing up with your sister and all that, and your family?
So, growing up in Chicago was quite challenging because you try to fit into different groups and cliques because you just don't know how to identify yourself. And I'm speaking on behalf of myself. For me, I knew I was African,
right?
But also, I'm also being in Chicago. I'm identifying myself as an African American. So I'm kind of confused at which way do I go? Who do I introduce myself as? So as I got older, and this was 2015, I had the opportunity to travel to Ghana as an adult. And at that time, again, I didn't have my dual citizenship. But when I say that moment I stepped off the airplane, it was like, wow. It was like the wind kind of just told me, this is who you are. This is where your roots are. And you don't have to be confused about who you are anymore. You can confidently say that you are a Nigerian, Ghanaian, American. We grow up and we hear, we're called names such as African booty scratcher, and it kind of intimidates you. So you don't want to tell people, well, yeah, I'm from Africa. I actually have roots. I know where I am. And you kind of put on this, show that, no, don't call me African. You think it's bad, but, traveling to Africa now, it made me proud of who I am. And the dual citizenship made it even powerful. Like, I can just get up any day. I don't have to have any visa issues. I can embrace myself the way I want to, have conversations about, where I'm from, and people are engaged and intrigued and they want to know more.
And I mean, and I think you said something powerful as far as stepping off that plane and you see people that look like you, that have names
exactly like me,
have names similar to you, right? There's no making fun of an Ajao, because that's they might even be more deeper, more complex names to pronounce there. And also, there's nothing wrong in knowing that, like, yo, you have the best of both worlds, right? Like, there's a special uniqueness to that. But I think that pride, you get that pride knowing that, yo, like, this is home. Like, you don't feel lost. You know what I mean? And that's beautiful. So you went to Ghana, and Ghana's love. Like, what was that like for you going back to Ghana?
Ghana is mad love.
Yo, it is.
It's people think sometimes, I go for just the turn up. Yes, that's one of the reasons, because I always go during the holiday time, December, and the turn up is mad real. Yeah. I enjoy myself from the moment I step off the plane to that final hour of me returning back to the States. But it's a reset button for me. I'm able to recharge, refuel, get my mind right, put my goals down on paper and know that I'm coming back to the States to execute. And that's what I love about Ghana, that there is peace there. You don't have to worry about there being a scheduled regimen. Here in the States, you're going to wake up, go to work, come home, and do it all over again. But in Ghana, you just go with the flow, and there's so much love. And creativity, and you're learning something new every day from everyone. If they embrace you, it's all just, you just soak it all in. From the sun to the sand when you go into the beach. It's just everything.
I mean, I think you speak in real talk, because I know when I go to Nigeria, sometimes it's like, man, like, you just get to appreciate your entire surrounding. You know that you can just take things slow. You ain't got to worry about the hustle and bustle.
Yes.
The demanding expectations.
And you said a good word. You said appreciate. I appreciate who I am even more being able to travel to Ghana.
Absolutely. And I think, so then, before I wanted to trace it back and talk about the upbringing, but I want to move a little forward, because I think when you talk about the word creativity, it allows you to just kind of continue to expand your creative horizon. Why a clothing brand? Like, why be inspired for a clothing company instead of something else to be able to continue to perpetuate this message of, appreciation of your homeland and the diaspora? Like, but why did you have to make a fashion statement with this? Like, I want to know about that.
You hit the head. You said the correct word. I wanted to use T-shirts because I believe T-shirts are a statement piece. You just go with it. You can dress it up. You can dress it down. Even in my professional career, I wear my T-shirts to work. I throw a blazer on, and I just felt that was the easiest way to bring Africans in the motherland and Africans in the diaspora together. And I'll tell you, it's working. I have had people purchase several shirts and go out of the country and inbox me and tell me, these T-shirts spark so much conversation. Keep doing what you're doing. And that was what I wanted to do. And I had no idea that it was going to become of this. The first shirt I created was my Jello Hennessy and Afrobeat shirt. And I just said, this is what I'm going to do. And when people order that shirt, I get so happy. I don't know why I get happier when, I have so many shirts in my collection, but it's just that shirt that makes me so happy.
I mean, that's definitely a popular one. That was the first one that I saw, and I was like, yo, this is dope. But it is a conversation starter, and I think I'm starting to see more of the different types of messaging that's being put on the shirt. So then that kind of brings me back to what I was going to talk about as far as bringing the diaspora, Black immigrants and the Africans from the motherland. But have you noticed growing up that there was what was the dynamic like between being, African immigrant compared to your interactions with African Americans that were here, growing up in Chicago? You said you had to kind of figure out who you were, and some people were trying to deny their African identity, but as you get older, you're claiming it. But what do you think the relationship is like between all these Black groups in Chicago, or wherever you're at?
I think there's still some struggles, but I believe because of what's being advertised and what people are seeing on TV, and things are coming together for the greater good. I think Africa, as we all know, was probably known as, it was dark because of what they're seeing on TV. They have kids with flies on their faces. They see different movies with huts and mud everywhere. But now, you have the music where people are listening, and it makes them want to be more exposed to, Africa. And even because people like myself are accepting, their roots and accepting where they came from, it allows people to really embrace it as well, and think and do their own research and say to themselves, Africa isn't bad. I just don't know enough. So it allows them to do their own, research and education on their own. You have podcasts like yours that are, empowering people to accept their Blackness, and their Blackness not just being, where the Blackness within the community, but deeper in their roots, and that's Africa.
And I think we need to be able to continue to encourage more people to learn more about Africa and know that we're more than just huts and more than just what researchers call as this poverty porn, where, as you mentioned, you got these kids with the fly that's glued to their left eye, and
yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all.
Or begging for money.
Yeah,
Africa is a third world poor country. No, Africa is very rich. Other countries actually, and we keep talking about Africa. Yes, Africa is a continent with 54 countries in it, but it's very rich. Every country in Africa has something to offer. There are other countries out here that are taken from, Africa, because they're trying to develop their own, development and infrastructure. So Africa is not poor at all. You go there, you eat the food, you're fully nourished, you feel good, you walk around free, the air, everything. It's just an amazing place to be. I just, if I could move there today, I would definitely move to Ghana.
Really?
I would, indeed. I will pack up and go.
That's great. That's work. Like, that's dope, because, I always tell people that, like, I will, I always say I'll work for Nigeria, but I'll retire in Ghana. That's just how I feel, because I think Ghana is such an amazing, like, serene, relaxing, fun place to be. Like, you get the relaxation and you get to chill.
Yes.
But they also come alive, especially at night. Like, it has a fun nightlife, and it's, it's not as rowdy, but I think I agree with you. Like, Ghana is the spot. If I had it my way, I would definitely go and move to Ghana at some point towards the end of my career. But it's just interesting that you're another person that I've heard say that, which I find very, very fun to hear. So how are you balancing, the brand and then also the job, and like, how did it tie into like your family, and how are they supporting of the new company that you created?
So it's not easy juggling both. I work in a call center environment, and it's very demanding. And again, I'm working on a new product, a new program. You know, healthcare is ever changing. So you have to keep up with the guidelines, policies. I have to be able to speak to different clients about the programs that we're offering to their employees. And when I leave from work, I still have to have fuel to work on dual citizen because that's for me, and it's also for my people. And I want to be able to give them good quality, fashionable items where they feel confident and they can go out and just feel good about themselves. So it's not easy at all, but I make time for it because if I don't do it, who will? I plan my schedule where, you know, most Fridays are my production day. I have different shops where I go and I just get to work. You know, I pull up my laptop and, you know, I have my printers that, you know, I schedule appointments with them. So I definitely have a small team. Sometimes I look to some of my friends, my close friends, my best friends, and my sister to kind of, what you think about this idea? You think the people would like it? And some will say, no, I'm not sure about that. And when they like something, they really like it, and they're bugging me to release as soon as possible. But it's definitely a process. And my family, you know, they support it. They love it. My dad, you know, he's in Ghana, so he's always sending me a text message. Do you think you can send me some shirts to Ghana so I can be wearing it when I'm walking around and people know that my daughter has a business called Dual Citizen? And I just think that's so cute, and it keeps me going. You know, my mom, she's always calling, how's business? I need some more shirts. She's a nurse, so she wears a lot of my shirts under her scrubs. Wow. But everybody enjoys it, you know. If they're, you know, I have a lot of my best friends, they ask me, can I customize shirts for them? But they want people to know that it's African wear. You know, someone from Africa is making it, and I appreciate it.
So have you thought about, I know I've seen some of it, and I know you can find more of the fashion for our listeners. You can find more on Dual Citizen and by following on Instagram for sure. But have you considered taking it or transitioning into like African cloth, like the fabric?
I have, and that's one of my goals. I'm actually going to Ghana in December, and you know, I want to do some research, get fabric, and you kind of intertwine it all. I definitely have some new ideas coming up, so you know, stay tuned. More to come. This is just the beginning. You know, Dual Citizen is not perfect, so I'm definitely going with the beat. And I just hope people continue to work with me and vibe with me as Dual Citizen continues to grow.
I think they will. I definitely do. And I want to know, what do you think will be what do you want to be the ultimate impact of Dual Citizen? Like, what do you, when it's all said and done, once you reach your pinnacle, what do you think like would be the best thing that you got out of this experience?
I want people to be able to say, because of this clothing line, because of this platform, I decided to travel back to Africa and find my roots. I'm proud of who I am. We can all come together and unite with one another and continue to create more products. I've been fortunate enough to have people purchase my items, and next thing you know, 2 weeks later, they're making blogs about my clothing line without me even asking. So everything that I want to happen is already happening. I just want it to be greater. This clothing line is just not for me. It's for everyone that looks like me. And I want people to be able to feel that way. We come from greatness. Africa is so great. It's so powerful. Our ancestors suffered so much for us to use the tools that they left behind for us. Why not continue to create more greatness? And that's what I want people to realize, that we come from greatness. We have so much creativity to work from. We're kings and queens. You're my sister, I'm your brother. Despite you knowing directly where your roots come from, you and I are no different.
And do you think that you're getting a lot of pull from the African American community with dual citizen so far?
Surprisingly, African Americans, I wake up every day and to a purchase, from an African American, or I have African Americans, they interact with me more. And I love it. I love it because I feel like they've been waiting for this moment for someone like me who has African roots to embrace them. Because, we always hear this, Africans don't, Nigerians, Ghanaians, people from Togo, Senegalese people don't like Black Americans, African Americans. But that's not the case at all. I know I don't. I love them. I love that I can learn some of their culture, and in turn teach them our culture, and we can both accept that it's the same. We have some of the same traditions. Some African traditions can be more stern, but it's all the same. And I just accept that, and I love that they just feel welcome now. And at first they didn't.
I think we're moving towards, as I mentioned before, and I had a conversation in another interview, that we're moving towards a day and age where I think we're going to, slowly but surely, we're going to start realizing that we have so much more in common than the media or whatever perceives us to be, because I think our vision, our perceptions have been contaminated because people make it seem like we're really, really different. And yes, we may have some stricter cultures and things like that, but even nowadays, as we are getting older and our parents are getting older, they starting to realize that it ain't as far fetched to think that we're really on the same boat with our brothers and sisters from here in America. But I really like the fact that people are gravitating to the brand, because that whole concept of dual citizenship is powerful. Even the name itself, in my opinion, just having that out there, front, blast, and center, like it's dual citizen, that there's more to it than just being here in America. Like you can, there's power to going back to Africa. You don't have to go back and live there, but there's power to knowing that you can build a connection with Africa. And there's so much, like you said, richness, and it may not necessarily come in the form of money all the time, but just this rich culture, this rich resources.
Rich culture.
You can build something there if you open yourself to embracing what Africa has to offer. And I think Africa will also embrace you in return. And that's, like you said, that's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because, I think growing up, we were told something. We were told to feel bad, about who we were. We were, feeling ashamed of it because we had these names. They called it African booty scratchers. Our parents had accents, and our parents were loud, whatever. But
loud. I remember being in elementary school. I can't think of the name of the hairstyle, but they used to thread my hair.
Oh,
and I would be so embarrassed. Like, why are you making me go to school like this? They're going to laugh at me. I won't have any friends. But now I'm seeing people walk the streets with their hair like that. And I say, and sometimes I look at myself, I say, shame on me. Shame on me for not embracing the culture and, the look that my parents were trying to, give me, make me be unique. But now, you can't tell me anything. I want to. What can I do to look more African?
Right.
Can I stay in the sun a little bit more? Can I be darker? I used to be ashamed of my skin tone, but like we keep saying, there's richness in our skin tone. There's richness in our complexion. There's richness in our names and everything that we are associated with. And like you said, I'm just happy that, people are gravitating to the motherland. One of my best friends, she traveled to Nigeria, I believe 2 years ago, and she's a totally different person. She's all about culture. She loves Afro beats. She even sends me songs. Like, have you heard the song? Yes, I have. Thank you for sharing, though. She's asked, can you give me a Nigerian name or a Ghanaian name? And I love it. I love that my friends can feel comfortable. If they come to, African functions, they're asking, please, can I have some jollof rice? I want to have that. One of my other best friends, she had a Juneteenth celebration.
Mm-hmm.
She told me, I want you to make jollof rice. Bring jollof rice, please. And she had played Afro beats throughout the entire event.
Wow,
and I just felt loved. I couldn't ask for a better tribe that's willing to work on themselves, embrace who I am. When I'm going to Ghana, they're asking, can you send me pictures? Can you bring me some material? I want to get something made. Can you bring me an artifact? Teach me more. Can you share some of your language with me? It's amazing. It's amazing what me starting this dual citizen company has created.
And I think you spoke beautifully to just everything as far as embracing the culture and what people are doing now, because when you're speaking, I start to think about my upbringing, and you talked about the threaded hair, and I just started thinking about all the things, what I research on, what I do as far as this whole concept of transnationalism being that people are preserving your culture here, but are also connecting and staying connected back to their native homeland, whether it be Ghana, Africa, and Togo, and Nigeria, and what I start to realize in retrospect is that, like, my mom seeing them, like, they would do things to try to make me remember home, right? All those things,
yes.
The clothes, the food, like, all those things were things that they were trying to do to make me remain Nigerian or Ghanaian in America. Like, they, trying to do their best to preserve the culture. But growing up, you weren't really thinking about trying to preserve culture. You're just trying to make it in society. You're trying to have friends. You're trying to, be socially accepted.
Right. Yep.
And, by the time we get to a certain age and the wisdom kicks in, and you start to realize, like, man, like, they were trying to instill in us something that they don't have, like the others don't have. And the others will be seeking, they'll be looking for it once they get to the age that we're in now. Like, right now they tease it and they're sleeping. But by the time they get older, what you have that we're trying to show you, to display to the world, is what they'll be looking for. And that's something that I didn't get until, like, now, until a couple years
You're
back.
definitely right. We talk about childhood. I remember growing up, my father's older brother, which we refer to him as Big Daddy. We don't call him Uncle or Uncle, whatever his name is, but Big Daddy, because out of respect.
Right.
And he used to come, anytime he came around, we would have to kneel down, and at first, not knowing any better, I would think it was a form of slavery. Like, why are you making me kneel down to you? Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a sign of respect. It's culture. It's necessary. We have to know. Respect our elders. To know that's what's important, because nowadays you walk around and you see, the youth and the teenagers. They have no respect for, those that come before them. And it just makes me think back and how I used to be defiant. No, I'm not kneeling down. I'm not doing that. But now if I see, I'm running to the door when I see Big Daddy. I'm kneeling down. Yes, I respect you. This is my culture, because I want someone behind me to see that and say, wow, that's what's up. Right. And that's how I want my children to be able to grow up and respect me that way, or, the youth on the street to have that same rapport with me.
Right. And it's perpetuated by, you have to show that, you have to model that behavior,
mm-hmm.
right? And
exactly.
It's interesting because my wife had a very similar reaction initially when she didn't understand, especially with our daughter. Like, I was very big on, like, my daughter doesn't have to prostrate for me or anything like that, but I'm very big on, like, yes sir, yes ma type thing, right? Like, so for initially my wife was like, why is it that big of a deal, right? Like, why do you have to, like, when she first met my mom and them, I was like, you have to prostrate a genuflect or something to show, a curtsy, whatever you want to call it in your language, but do something to show that you're giving respect, right? And she was like, wow,
correct.
Like, that's, she's like, that's extra, that's dramatic. And it wasn't until when she went to Nigeria with me, and she saw, when she came to the village with me, and she saw all these other younger, the youth over there. It didn't matter whether they were, teenagers, or they were, 8 years old or 4 or 5. When they see her, they were, good morning, ma, good morning. And she was like,
yes.
Oh, like, I get it. Like, it's not something that you're just on. It's not isolating you alone. Like, this is something that you do. Therefore, it'll be done unto you as well. And you want to be able to show that. So, and she started to gain a little bit more of an appreciation for the respect that's being given. And she, so she got it now. But so she needed that exposure and some time to really see it. So I think it resonates with me what you're saying, because the youth, man, it's a little scary sometimes to see how some people interact with their parents, and I'm like, God forbid, like I can't let that be me over my dead body. But
I wouldn't be living. I would not be living today.
Exactly. So but to bring it back, I just want to say, is there anything else you want to share related to the brand that you think we should know? Or anything that's coming up? What's the future for Dual Citizen?
That's a hard question to answer. The future it's just to keep going, to keep inspiring people, to continue to appreciate our culture, recognize the beauty that's in each and every one of us, be a platform to unite Africans in the motherland and Africans in the diaspora. I'm big on community service, so hopefully Dual Citizen can get out there and, do some charity events. We're always doing pop-up shops, so if you want to come out and meet me in person, check my IG. And, I'm very warm and welcoming. I can speak about culture and Africa all day. We're just going to keep growing. We're going to keep putting out material and doing it for the culture. Africa is already on the map, but we're just going to make sure it continues to be noticed.
That's big facts. And before I close, I need to know then, since you're so big on culture, favorite food? African food.
My favorite food is wache. I love wache and heavy shito. It's a Ghanaian dish, rice and beans. It's the best.
That shito shito, like, you like it like spicy shito, or like
regular? Spicy, like,
come on.
I want the shito to cover the entire bowl of wache. I need it to be drenched with plenty plantain, the one that you slice on the side, not the one you cut in small squares. But that's my favorite dish.
Yes. I had to do it because I love food. And you like Ghanaian food?
That's that one, and sometimes when I'm in the mood for it, I have to have kenke and sardine and again with plenty shito. Like, shito is just
it's a hit. It's a hit.
The hit is like, if it's not right if you don't have shito on it. So that is it.
You're a real one, sis. Man, I appreciate you. I have to mention to the listeners, I don't think y'all understand, I had to have I had to have Maria on the show. Like, I was so impressed by what dual citizen was. I saw it was through our previous guest, Jessica, who was on, and she talked about her experience being a dual citizen and how she did it. But when I saw the brand, I was like, yo, I need this. Like, I need this in my life. I need my listeners to know this exists, because the messaging behind this, I think you're getting a sense, but I don't think you really even know what you just started, Maria. And I think it's going to be something powerful, because I think people are coming out of the woodworks and they're using this fashion to be like, yo, like, this is what I've been trying to say to others for years. Like, we're good. We're here. We're going back and forth. We're not ashamed of who we are anymore. And we want you to come join us. It's not just you can't sit with us. It's actually the opposite. Come, sit, eat with us.
I want you to sit with me. I want you to add to the table.
Yes.
And I just want you to just be and bring more. Like, this is us.
There's enough jollof rice and Hennessy and Afro beats for everybody. You feel me?
There's enough.
There's enough.
Plenty.
There's enough.
There's plenty. We're taking all types of jollof. We're taking Nigerian jollof, Ghana jollof, even Liberian, even African American jollof. However you want to bring your jollof, we taking it. It's enough to go around. And you mentioned, like you said, I don't think I knew what I was doing when I created Dual Citizen. I just said I wanted to do something that unifies us, that, shows the greatness of Black people, just puts out empowerment. Like I keep saying this, and I stand by this, in order to go through life, you definitely have to embrace who you are, embrace your roots, know your identity, and value culture. And that's one thing my parents always tell me: if you don't have culture, you don't have anything. It's a guide to life. And I believe that. And it's definitely helped me develop into the person that I am today. And that's why I can continue to put out material for the people that are rocking with me. And I do it every day, and I love it. I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
And I think that's a good way to just kind of conclude this interview. But just know that we are rooting for you over here, and let us know over here in My Black is Transnational how we can continue to support. We want to see this shine. We want to see this continue to reach the masses, because I think what you're doing right now is going to leave a lasting impact and may continue to push this transnational agenda that I personally want to happen. And I believe we can find you on Instagram at Dual Citizen CO, right?
Yes, at Dual Citizen CO. You can follow me. I do follow back when I get the notification. So if I don't follow back immediately, please don't take it personal. If you see me in public in Chicago, don't be afraid to speak. I've had people stop me at different concerts. You're Dual Citizen. Yes, I am. Give me a hug. How are you? Thanks for rocking with the brand. So don't ever feel intimidated to talk to me or just start a conversation via DM. I love it.
It's a win, sis. It's a win. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I hope we gotta talk again soon. So this is not gonna be the last time, but this has been fun. Peace and blessings.
Same to you. Don't be a stranger. I'll be more than welcome to come back and chat with you whenever you're ready.
Fantastic. Take care, sis.
You too, bro. Thank you.
So that's going to do it for this episode of My Black is Transnational. I'd like to thank our guest, Miss Maria Ajao, for joining me and having a conversation with me on the show. It was such a great time. Very excited for what's to come for the Dual Citizen brand. If you liked what you heard and you want to listen to more episodes, you can find this podcast on any of your favorite podcast listening apps. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show. We really appreciate your feedback. You can follow us at Black Transnational Podcast on Instagram. You can follow me personally at BlackTransnational_. And if you want to learn more about the show, you can find us at www.blacktransnational.wixsite.com. to learn more about the show and the guests and what's to come. So that's going to do it for now. I'll be signing off. My name is Dr. Kalechi Bay Lamberts. My Black is transnational. And I hope by the end of this, yours will be too. Peace.